Okay, here we have been asked to factorise x squared plus 10x plus 6. That essentially means we want to put it into brackets, into two different brackets. What we need to do is we need to identify factors of plus 16 that when we add the factor pair together, it's going to give us plus 10. Okay, so my factors of 16 are 1 and 16. They are 2 and 8. And they are 4 and 4. So if we were to look at the sum of those factor pairs, 1 plus 16 is 17. 2 plus 8 is 10. 4 plus 4 is 8. So I want to get plus 10, so I can see that this is the factor pair that I am going to be looking at here. So essentially, how I'm going to write it is that I'm going to have something plus 2, something plus 8, because those are the two factors that I have here. I also need to think about what times what is going to give me x squared, so that is simply going to be x and x. Okay, so factorising this, I need to look at this last term here. I need to find the factor pairs of this. So you've got 1 and 16. When we sum that, 17. 2 and 8, when we sum that, we get 10. 4 and 4, when we sum that, we get 8. So we're going to use this factor here. So then we just simply have to write it as x plus 2, x plus 8. You can check if you've done this correctly. If you were to multiply out your bracket, you get x squared plus 8x plus 2x plus 16, which would simplify to x squared plus 10x plus 16. If your answer is the same as the question, you've factorised it properly. Okay, here I've been asked to factorise s squared plus 14s plus 24. Step 1, look at the last term, plus 24. I need to write down the factors of plus 24. So I've got 1 and 24. I've got 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6. Those are all the factor pairs. I want to identify the factor pairs that when I add them together I get plus 14. So if I were to do 1 and 24, that would give me 25. Nope. 2 and 12 would, when I add them together, would give me 14. So that is the factor pair I'm looking for. So how I write it is I write s plus 2, s plus 12. If I were to multiply out this bracket again, I should get back to the answer. What I'd like you to hope, or what I'd hope you would notice here from this example and the previous example, if we've got a plus here and a plus here, that means that in the brackets it's going to be pluses. It's going to be something plus a number, something plus a number. So if they're both pluses, everything is going to be positive. Okay, here I've been asked to factorise s squared to take away 9s plus 20. Okay, here essentially we're going to look at the example of a positive last term but a negative middle term. So positive and a negative middle term. So I need to think of factors of plus 20 that when I add them together I'm going to get negative 9. Okay, remember, if you do a negative times a negative, that gives you a positive. So if 1 times 20 is 20, so will minus 1 times minus 20. That will also give me 20. I'll put that over to the side. So, let's write down factor pairs of 20. But, because this sign here is plus and this sign here is negative, my factor pairs are going to be negative. They're both going to be negative. So I can have minus 1 and minus 20. I can have minus 2 and minus 10, and I can have minus 4 and minus 5. The target is still to get minus 9s when I add these factors together. Minus 1 plus minus 20 would be minus 21, so that's not going to work. Minus 2 plus minus 10 would be minus 12, that's not going to work. So looking at this last one, minus 4 plus minus 5 would give me minus 9, that one is going to work. So I can write the factorised expression in the form, so it's going to be s minus 4 and s minus 5. When you have a positive last term and a negative middle term, your factor pairs will both be negative and the things inside the bracket will be negative. Remember, you can check your answer by multiplying out. You'll get back to the same answer at the top if you've done it properly. Okay, here I'd like us to factorise y squared, take away 15y plus 54. First thing to note, positive here, negative here. So both my factor pairs are going to be negative. So factor pairs of 54 that are negative, I've got minus 1 and minus 54. I've got minus 2 and minus 27. I've got minus 3 and minus 18. And I've got minus 6 and minus 9. Okay, that's all my factor pairs there. I now need to check that when I add these together, that I get minus 15. Okay, so minus 1 plus minus 54 would give me minus 55. Doesn't work. Minus 2 plus minus 27 would be minus 29. Doesn't work. Minus 3 plus minus 18 would give me minus 21. Doesn't work. Minus 6 plus minus 9 would give me minus 15. That's what I'm looking for. So I can write it in the form, put in my two brackets, y and y. So I can write it in the form y minus 6 and y minus 9. Remember, I can check my answer by multiplying out and collecting like terms. If I've done it properly, I get back to this answer at the top. In this final example, we're going to factorise a squared plus 14a, take away 15. But note, this time our last term is negative. In the previous examples, this last term has been positive. So we need to find factors of minus 15. And if you recall that to get a negative number when we multiply, we would have to do a positive and a minus, or a minus and a positive. That would give us a negative answer. Okay, so we need to keep this fact in mind when we're thinking about our factor pairs. Okay, so when we are thinking of factor pairs of minus 15, we still fall through the same process. But we know that one of them is going to be positive and one of them is going to be negative. So factor pairs of minus 15, we could have 1 and minus 15. We could have minus 1 and 15. Although in these examples with like a unitary coefficient, like if the number in front of here is just 1, you don't need to write them in like both ways, like 1 and minus 15, minus 1 and 15. But when we go into factorising trinomials with, for example, a 2 here or a 3 here, it's better to list all of them now to set in the good practice for later. Okay, so we've got 1 and 15, or sorry, 1 and minus 15, minus 1 and 15. We've also got 3 and minus 5, and minus 3 and 5. Those are all our factor pairs of minus 15. We now need to find the factor pair that when we add them together gives us plus 14. So 1 plus minus 15, So plus and a minus is negative. So 1 minus 15 would be minus 14. So that's not what we're looking for. But if we were to look at here, minus 1 plus 15 is going to give us plus 14. So that is the one that we are looking for. So I can write in my brackets, my double brackets. I'm going to put an A here and an A here. And I'm simply going to write A minus 1 and then A plus 15. Remember, you can check your answer if you multiply out your bracket and collect like terms. That will give me A squared plus 15A, take away A, take away 15. So that will be A squared plus 14A, take away 15. So the thing to note here, if this is negative, that means you're going to have a positive and negative factors. Okay, in this final example, we've been asked to factorise b squared, take away 4b, take away 21. So notice this last term is negative, so our signs are going to be both positive and negative. So let's write them down. We've got minus 1 and 21. We've got 1 and minus 21. We've got minus 3 and 7. We've got 3 and minus 7. Okay, so let's now find the factor pair that when we add them together, we get minus 4. So minus 1 and 21, no, that's not going to work. Neither is that. Minus 3 plus 7. So if I did minus 3, then I added on 7, I would end up at plus 4. But if I did 3 plus minus 7, that would give me take away 4. So I'm not using that, I'm not using that, I'm not using that. But this is the one that when I add them together, when I sum the factors, I get minus 4. So I'm just simply going to write it in the form, put it in my brackets, b plus 3, b take away 7. Remember, you can check your work by multiplying out your brackets and collecting like terms.